Today we have another very special guest from Mega64. Garrett Hunter is in the building. Shouts out.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. Calling in from sunny San Diego. Little smoky in the skies here. The West Coast is it's a little hot.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm just shocked we have a building.
Yeah. You guys are like deep inside Mother Base headquarters. I'm calling in from the field. Is that how it works?
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
We have field agents just kind of scattered out, you know. We're all in separate, undisclosed locations.
Sending people out on dispatch missions.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hey, I'm Fingers.
Hey everyone, this is Days Ahead.
And I'm Nitroid. You're listening to the Kojima Frequency.
Let's see. So where do we want to start off here? We got a couple things here.
Well, I'm game for anything.
Do we approach you first as a Kojima fan, or do we approach you first as a content creator? Because I could go either angle. We could talk about how it was like working with Kojima, or we could talk about how many hours you invested in MGS5. I'm certainly curious in both.
And do we take a drink every time we ask you a question you've already been asked?
I don't want to die tonight, but okay.
No, you know, I don't get to talk that much about Kojima, but yeah, I'm definitely a Kojima fan, and yeah, I guess I'd consider myself a content creator at this point. I always held off on that term. That's such a funny new speak term.
Yeah.
But it is technically what I do. For the Mega64 boys here. If it's not behind the scenes, it's sometimes in front of the camera, creating that content.
Yeah, man. You were out there shredding, doing that Tony Hawk stuff, man.
Oh, that was great.
Oh, that was so much fun. Getting to go to the skate park and get filmed for like a work day was just a dream I didn't think I'd ever achieve.
You're like,
so
you're sitting there just doing the flips. You're like, I'm getting paid for this. Hell yeah.
Even though that video turned into this big prank on me, I have no qualms about how it went. It was so much fun to make.
Yeah, man. Getting a little video from Mr. Tony Hawk himself. It's not a bad little perk.
Oh, man, yeah, that had me crying.
It's nothing like making stuff with a little Hideo cameo, because that's by far my favorite. Yeah. And I think that brings the biggest smile to my face is when we're making stuff. I like Tony Hawk. You know, I play those games.
Yeah.
But man, there's nothing like making something like our Metal Gear in 5 minutes video, or something that's so deep into the lore that I love that I really get to like go off the deep end making props and costumes and stuff. And God, of recent date, we did the Death Stranding video. And I didn't think we'd get another cameo with Hideo because he's so busy. Yeah. But sure enough, after the video came out, we were contacted like, hey, Hideo saw this. He wants to know why he wasn't in it. It's like, well, shit, we'll put you in the behind the scenes. Like, let's figure something out.
He's really sad right now.
Watching him throw up the bird was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
Sat in that car all by himself.
If you haven't seen, we did a Death Stranding video at Mega64, and there's a behind the scenes of that Death Stranding video. We go into making the costume and other stuff, but that has the actual appearance by Hideo and his crew where, well, you know, he just wasn't the best cameraman out there. But he's got such a good sense of humor, and like I don't know what it is with his sense of humor and Mega64's sense of humor is like aligned perfectly. So there's this kind of click.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
And even with the language divide.
So he completely gets it.
Totally. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I feel like if your humor aligns with somebody, it's like you're kindred spirits in that way. So it's almost like you have that connection with Kojima.
It transcends language. Right. We made a connection. We're playing the rope game.
Better a rope than a stick, am I right?
Yeah. Always a rope over a stick. That's what I say.
It's good words to live by.
Got that Kobo Abe philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is really funny to like not use him in the main video. Like that's and like only use him in the behind the scenes. And then to just like subject him pretty much to like go sit in the car and time out and like just pissed off the whole time. That was so funny to me.
It's great. I think I have some behind-the-scenes footage we didn't use of him accidentally setting off the car alarm, which was hilarious. Now we're really pranking him. We don't let him be in the video. We make him sit in the truck, and then we rig the alarm to go off as soon as he shut the door.
Just turn up the AC and put on Joy Division.
Yeah, he's okay. He's listening. I have the AC on.
He's listening.
So so they initially just contacted you guys pretty much to work that out. Like once they just kind of saw your channel and y'all were just making some fan content, or?
Well, I mean, originally we got in touch through the Game Developers Conference because for years we would do these interstitial videos for the GDC in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. It would be like at a big award ceremony and intercut between, you know, different awards, different segments. They'd have little Mega64 sketches. And back in the day it was a, hey, Ash, what you playing? Other groups would contribute, you know, content. And we would always ask, hey, GDC, could we film with the guest of honor? You know, whoever was getting the Lifetime Achievement Award, which first time that happened, it was Shigeru Miyamoto, and they said yes, and it all went off great. We met with him, and the next year it was, hey, you guys are giving an award to Hideo. Can we get, you know, 5 minutes with him? And that was the first time. I made up Derek and Sean as Solid Snake from 4 and Raiden from 4, respectively. And then Hideo went around the town of San Francisco with them, kind of hiding behind walls and doing kind of like Raiden-type flips and spins in the sidewalk. And it was just a very basic premise. But he was like so into being right there with us and sneaking around. And I mean, it's like an adult playing dress up and running around the city with this guerrilla filmmaking crew. You wouldn't think a game developer would be like so into it.
Yeah, he's definitely got that sense of play.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and I was like, oh, damn, he's taking this really seriously.
Even more so than Miyamoto, you know, he was like so happy and on board and like, okay, what else? What's next? You know, his translator would say like, oh, what else can we do? Okay, well, let's think of another thing. Great guy, always gave us time, and that was the first time. And there's been too many to count now because we'd met up with him years down the road at Comic-Con when he'd be here promoting like Peace Walker. We'd done other videos, and then, you know, the last one, this Death Stranding one that we've worked on, he was so busy with the game that I think, I don't even know if Rocco reached out to try to get something going for the original video. You know, we always do the out in public sketches just for our YouTube channel, and we throw it out there. I think it was then, once it was out and we saw, I think the official Kojima Twitter had retweeted it, the Japanese and the English one. And that's when we know, like, okay, Rocco sent a DM, I'm sure, and then started the conversation about when they'd be back in the US.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
That's awesome.
And hopefully more to come. He's such a accepting and like willing to work with you, even on a tight, like, hey, we got 5 minutes in the middle of Comic-Con, run down to this parking garage so we can get a shot of you like you're in some bunker. And he's like, okay, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it's crazy what can happen at those conventions, man. Like magic stuff can just happen like that. They're just like all celebrities there, just like voice actors. And you're just like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And, like I've had the Green Power Ranger break my fingers. You know, quote unquote. You know, I've had Duke Nukem's voice actor do that. You know, it's just, and got like a video with him being like, oh, fingers, that's fucking gross. Like
fingers, that was fucking gross.
It's just like, it's amazing what can happen at those type things. So like, I can definitely see that just working out perfectly at one of those things. They're like, yeah, man, we got time, let's do it.
I'm missing the live convention so bad. Yeah. I don't really miss flying, but I'm missing the con.
Yeah, man. Cons are, it's where it's at. That's where I normally make my money and stuff. So it's been a rough year.
Right, yeah. I hope they're coming back soon.
Yeah.
It's weird because I even missed, I'm at the point where, and this is bad to say, I'm even missing the con crowd. Like, I even miss feeling shitty a week after the con. And I just, like you said, Garrett, I just wish it would come back.
Yeah. One day.
I'll take con crowd over Corona any day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I think that now that we've explored sort of the aspects of you as a Mega64 creator, I think we can start going into the actual Kojima fanboy, which you said that you don't get to talk about much, but we can talk about it now.
Please.
Where do we want to start here? I guess first and foremost, what is your favorite Metal Gear?
I will say that Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, as a package. So I'm counting Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain as my favorite Metal Gear Solid game.
Now that is not an answer you hear very often either.
I know.
I'll fuck with it though.
If there's anybody who I think would say that, it would be him. But sorry, continue.
It's such a decisive answer. It's such a decisive game, which I think is why I love it even more. But I can't get over how good the Fox engine and the gameplay and the control I have over my character. Spending so many hours in the game, I had never learned a game inside and out that well before. So I put that as my highest rated and favorite Kojima game just because I definitely got the most out of it. The other Metal Gear games I love really for the story. Especially, you know, we're talking hardware holdbacks when you're PlayStation 2 era games. We got the subsistence and the add-ons where we got some better camera angles, maybe some different game mechanics. The HD upgrades with the, you know, HD re-releases are great. The story in those games are fantastic, but the gameplay of 5 pushes it over the top to be my favorite.
Yeah. And that's I definitely agree with that. And that's where people's main complaint, I think, is with 5. They're like, yeah, but the story though. And it's like there's tons of story there. It's just buried in long ass cassette tapes, and it just wasn't delivered like the other Metal Gear stories were. So it's the open world aspect just kind of shook that all up.
And I was already primed with how deep the lore would go on cassette tapes from Peace Walker, because I did thoroughly enjoy all of the cassette and, like, you know, collecting of little fragmented story stuff from Peace Walker. And I feel like Phantom Pain is like, if Peace Walker was the prototype, Phantom Pain's the floor model.
For sure. Yeah, they definitely just like fleshed out on a lot of the ideas from that game and just like made it more complete.
Sure.
And now you have this buttery smooth gameplay. Yeah. And that's, I didn't mind the cassette tapes at all, because it was basically like a codec that you didn't have to just sit there. Like, you could keep sneaking while you're sitting there listening to some lore. So it was like this, especially in a game that you could spend that long just running in one direction. It's like, all right, let me listen to a tape. You know, I think if you just listen to the tapes in the helicopter, you're doing it wrong.
And I think some of that, exactly. Some of the heaviest cassette tapes and some of the most, I think, moving story stuff was in Ground Zeroes for me.
Oh, yeah, it was rough.
And those tapes worked in the app. So I would spend time like at work and I would just throw the Ground Zeroes app on my phone and listen to all the cassette tapes I'd unlocked. You know, you could put them in a little playlist and just...
Yeah, it was a neat little companion app.
Dude, I loved those.
Did anybody walk past you and you could have like a freaked out face like, you okay, Garrett? Like,
I'm sure they get that a lot because
pause tapes.
I'm always wearing one earbud and laughing hysterically at whatever radio show or podcast I'm listening to. So people walk by me, they don't see the left earbud, they only see the right ear that's empty, and it's like, what is he laughing at? It's kind of maniacal.
To that point, you mentioned that you appreciated sort of the level of control and the Fox engine, which I appreciate the Fox engine for that, and the fact that it can accomplish that while still also running on a potato. But, you know, I feel like you also appreciated the level of control in Death Stranding. Because I almost feel like you said that, you know, Peace Walker laid the groundwork for 5. In some ways, I felt like Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain laid the groundwork for Death Stranding in both the level of control you have, even though it was a different game engine, and that whole stranding system. I felt like the FOB system was almost like a beta test for the strand system.
Yeah, I totally see that. Because that was something I had so much fun in Phantom Pain with leveling out all 3 of my FOBs, doing what I could to get the most flame material, as we all know. But I didn't I didn't ever do that in gaming before. I never got deep into the meta game and deep into the menus. I mean, so much of Phantom Pain is spent in the menus. And that was something that carried over for me for Death Stranding. I never really thought about that, but yeah, it really does make sense that when I started playing Death Stranding, I found myself again like, okay, before I move to the next knot, I'm going to flesh out I'm going to 5-star every porter in this area. Every delivery spot I'm going to go to until they're all 5 stars before I move on. I'm going to really go into the meta game. That's a good point. I never really had thought about that before. But yeah, it was kind of a precursor, Phantom Pain to
yeah, just picking up all those
Death
little
Stranding.
crafting things like scattered everywhere. You're like, oh, I'm going to need these. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was just obsessed. I wanted every gadget. I want it all. That's how I play.
The Phantom Pain was good about that until it got up to, man, it was like maybe 6 months or a year once they like got the online stuff where you would have to like wait like 7 days for something to get developed and stuff. And I was like, all right, man, I'm out. But
I just realized like I'm in the end game now, so I'll come back next week. I would set timers and stuff in my phone like, hey, next week my 3rd FOB will be done. Okay, cool.
Whoa, that's next level.
I'm curious what the conversation around Death Stranding will be like, maybe 5 years down the road once people have had sort of a chance to digest it, because people now are only sort of now being able to figure out what was going on with the metagame in MGS5 and how the fact that there's all this back and forth and it's not really going anywhere and it sort of has to rely on everybody cooperating to get to any sort of goal is like very, Kojima essentially gamified the concept of nuclear deterrence by showing you how impossible it is.
Exactly. It was such a fun and poignant lesson too. Like, it really was like, hey, look how fucking impossible this is, guys. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, even in a game. Now do it in real life. Okay, now shut up. Yeah, exactly.
And I listened to your previous episodes, and I was one of those guys refreshing Never Be Game Over on Reddit, and like completely just not buying into the ruse, but seeing how much of it could be and how much of it was total horseshit.
Yeah.
And it was in that end game period during, the pre-release of Death Stranding that, I was still on Metal Gear Online 3 trying to farm, trying to deter nuclear holocaust. I was always in there trying to steal the nukes, and I was never very good. But they eventually got it on...
I could never do it.
PS3, I did it once only, and it was PS3 that went first that unlocked the cutscene?
I think so.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So, there was another platform that actually had an integer overflow. So there were so many nukes that
was on Steam,
it reset
right?
the counter. That was a few years ago. Yeah, on Steam, on PC. It reset the counter to some absurd negative value. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because I do remember, like, when we first got the cutscene, I hadn't seen it, until... I believe is what you were talking about there on Steam. Yeah, the some glitch had enacted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they maxed out the counter so it looped back down to 0.
Tricky sons of bitches.
And that's meta as shit, going back to 0.
Yeah.
It all goes back to 0.
I mean, this is Metal Gear. You could consider that a valid strategy.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, they did it. I guess I wouldn't technically count a PS3 getting it first. If you cheat and you get it on Steam, that is winning at all costs.
Yeah.
It's a technical victory, which makes it the most important type of victory.
But I'm just glad I don't have to go on there anymore and like, try. It was like the weekly Skulls fights was all I would try to farm money and resources by just doing that over and over and over again. That game became an insane task where I would do what I knew that would make me the most amount of resources over and over. And I had all these tricks and all these like tutorials of videos I watched. People, other content creators would put up little YouTube tutorials, and I would learn every little thing. I feel like I just played that game so inside and out.
You pretty much had to do that too, because eventually you got to that point where you had to, like, if you're going for the trophies and stuff, trying to collect every animal, You had to like keep dropping down for that one. What was it, like a tortoise or something? And it was like rare as shit, but it like cost you all the GMP every time. So it's just like, damn, this is getting expensive.
Yeah, that's the only game I've platinumed.
Yeah, I made sure to platinum it. It was good.
So did you start following Kojima with Metal Gear, like, or was it another game? Like, what got you into Metal Gear and Kojima games?
Okay, I had Metal Gear for the NES. You know, our US, not Snake's Revenge, but I had the original one, which still isn't, you know, the MSX version. Yeah. But you know, as a kid with a Nintendo, I didn't know anything about, you know, Japanese developers or anything. So it was just a game I played. You didn't really pay any mind. But then in high school, a buddy of mine got a hold of me, and, you know, we played NES back in the day, and he was telling me, hey, Metal Gear Solid is coming out. It's like a sequel to that old Metal Gear game we used to play, but this shit's like brand. And he hyped me on it. Mike, shouts out Jordan Tidwell. Shouts out.
Nice.
But he clued me in on that, and then same thing. It was like a month later, or no, it was like years later. Hey, Metal Gear Solid 2's coming out, and then, you know, I was hooked. Once I played through...
Yeah, from there you got to get hooked from 2, yeah.
Yeah, once I played through the first one, I was kind of on board with like a Hideo Kojima game. Okay, this guy must be big shit. He's putting his name in front of his games. All right. It's like a Spike Lee joint. So, and then, you know, I was very much paying attention to the release of 2, and I remember getting Zone of the Enders just for that tanker mission.
Yep.
Played the hell out of that, and did enjoy Zone of the Enders.
Yeah, the joke at the time was if you bought the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, you got Zone of the Enders for free.
Right, definitely. But that was what hooked me, was the first Solid game.
Yeah, it was pretty much my exact same experience. Like just growing up with that NES game, just being like one of those NES games that was in the pile, and like kind of remembering it. And then my brother came to me and was like, "You remember that Metal Gear game? They're making a Metal Gear Solid." And I was like, "That sounds stupid," because I didn't know, like, and I was like, "What does that mean?" But yeah, then the first time I played it, and the first time they said, you know, whose footprints are these? I was like, oh shit, this is something different. Okay.
Yeah. It was a hard game. I mean, I'm not that skilled. I host a weekly Twitch stream called the Poorly Played Stream. So I mean, the name is fitting because I remember struggling even all the way up to 4. On my first playthrough, I was terrible until I like learned the mechanics of those games on maybe like second and third playthroughs. I had a hard time. And in high school with the first Metal Gear, I remember really suffering.
Yeah, each game definitely makes you like learn its system and learn it well to like succeed. And just, it's if you fuck up, it's just like, oh, here we go.
And at that time, I would play a hard game, and if I got stuck, that thing would be back on the shelf or back at Blockbuster. I'd be giving up.
Return to Babbage's.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm a little too young for the whole, like, oh, I played this on MSX or NES, but I do remember getting the that Pizza Hut demo disc.
Yeah.
And trying to play through and just barely getting out of the dock and just being like, yeah, fuck this. 8 years old, like, I want to go back to Spyro.
Yeah, these swim controls are weird.
Yeah. And then I go to my grandma's house and I see my uncle playing the finale, you know, fighting Liquid on top of the Metal Gear and then taking the Jeep ride out, and he was struggling himself. And it was just like, it looked so cinematic and nothing like I'd ever seen, that I was willing to take the brunt and learn this game just to see more of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
You got to play that at 8, too.
Yeah. It scarred me for life.
The cinematic nature of all of the Metal Gears, but Metal Gear Solid as like an introduction to cinematic kind of storytelling. I had, you know, seen that in RPGs before, but never in an action adventure game.
Yeah.
Not like this. Not you know, the cutscene length. And at the time, I was so impressed by graphics. And anytime you got cutscene graphics, it was better than gameplay graphics. And this was almost unique because it was the first time they were mixed. Like the cutscenes were the in-game graphics.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was new to me too. Like, this game looks so good, they don't even need to pre-render cutscenes.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you some footage later. During the development stage of the game, they were going to use full motion video like you see in other games.
Like Resident Evil?
Yeah, and it's really weird looking.
Oh, man, I don't think I've seen that either.
Wow, I bet.
As FMV should be. If it's not if it's not weird looking, then what's the point, really?
Yeah, if you play VR missions, the intro cutscene to that shows you kind of a little bit of it.
That's right. Yeah, there is some weird like pre-release kind of swooping camera, intro stuff for that. I've seen that.
Now that you mentioned VR, I do have a question about that. Do you remember the level when you take the pictures of the models of like Mei Ling and Naomi? Nitroid, were those supposed to be in the FMVs?
I don't know if they were supposed to be in the FMVs, but they are higher resolution models. I'm going from memory here. It's been a while. But the polygon count on the Mei Ling and Naomi models in photo mode are at least double of what Snake and the rest of the game models are. So if you look up close on them, if you look at the texture files, the quality of them is ridiculously higher.
Well, I just remember them having eyes instead of just like that dark area where their eyes are. Yeah, the scribble. Speaking of poorly played stream, that's a good segue into our next topic, which is actually your MGS3 run.
I'm deep into the Metal Gear Solid Summer Stream, which is a thing that I started here. I host the show with my buddy Brian, and we both, every Halloween, I would play a different Resident Evil game, and I would have to complete it by Christmas, which you think we got a long time, but streaming for an hour and a half once a week, it really got close to like the Christmas deadline. Or I think we actually extended it to New Year's Eve at midnight. And then we thought, this is such a pain in the ass, and we get stuck playing Resident Evil for like 3 months. Let's do this to ourselves in the middle of the summer, Brian thought, and he proposed the Metal Gear Summer Stream. Very similar to how we play Resident Evil. We play through one Metal Gear Solid game every year, and this year I'm in the middle of 3. This is the 3rd year we've done it. And I think last Wednesday, at time of recording, I just beat the Sorrow. That was the boss fight I was on. So that's about where we're at.
Gotcha.
Trying to sneak back into Groznygrad.
That's a fun little bit.
But it's taken a while.
How long was that Sorrow walk for you? Or did you just take the pill?
No, I had to do it twice because I fucked up and I accidentally touched his body and then hit continue before I took the pill.
Oh, man.
I get a little distracted.
That's the worst, to do that second walk of shame. It's just like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And on stream, not embarrassing at all, right? I do, we started the game first day of summer, first week of summer, and we're still going. And I would love to switch and finish this because there's so many new games I'd like to stream, But we're at that Sorrow fight, and I got all the way to the end and then was talking and hitting sound effects, and instead of hitting the revive pill, I hit the continue, and then it was like silence. The chat started blowing up. I'm like, what's wrong, Brian? He's like, you gotta do it all over. No. It's just the ending again, right? He's like, no, you gotta do it all over. And of course, I wasn't being careful, and I accidentally slit so many throats on this playthrough, so I've got a full River of the Dead to deal with.
Oh no.
Oh my God, yeah. And they're all telling me like, oh, my neck hurts. Oh,
yeah, you got to hear that a bunch of times over and over.
I'm like, I'm sorry. It was my finger slipped. I'm heavy-handed.
It's pressure-sensitive buttons on this
I
controller.
know. There's so much. This is really only my second playthrough of Metal Gear 3 as like a complete playthrough. I played it, when it came out. Mm-hmm. And then when I got that 3DS version in 3D, I played through maybe the first hour. When the HD collection first came out, I maybe gave, a couple minutes in the jungle run around, and then I was like, okay, cool, I got other shit to play. So I'm really learning how many multiple uses each button has, and the pressure sensitive, even like on your square button and your circle button.
Yeah.
Half a press is different than a full press. That's pretty rare for that era of gaming, as far as I remember. So
yeah, not a lot of games use that. I'm wondering how the hell they're going to port these games with the new controllers not having any pressure sensitivity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. A double press maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Or like they did on the 3DS where you've got like the D-pad map to it, but then that changes the mechanic there too.
Yeah,
so.
you got the stalking walk right there.
That's why I'm a firm believer in keeping your we were talking about consoles and repairing the old ones before we started here today, but I am all about like original hardware, original discs, and trying to keep the original content available to me. So it's hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I could never go all digital. It would drive me crazy.
No. I love Kojima games so much. I don't want Sony to dictate like what I'm allowed to play on when they want to sell it or put it up on whatever consoles store they have. 10 years from now.
Right, you purchase it and they decide to take the servers down. It's not really yours anymore.
I'm fucking... Dude, I got cold feet after the whole PT thing, and that's another Kojima, just like, a warm place in my heart forever.
Yeah.
Just for the playable teaser. And I just hate how hard it is to hold on to that little slice of digital media.
Yeah, if you've got that, don't let go.
Never.
Man.
It's not available on PS5, so.
Well, I wonder if it'll work, because a lot of the times when they do compatibility, it's sort of a broad spectrum compatibility, and then they'll go in and tweak games where there are problem cases. So if you can transfer data from a PS4 to a PS5,
someone will do it.
I mean, I'm going to try it.
There's a chance.
See if I can pull it off.
Someone will figure it out. If they're figuring out how to get Metal Gear Online 2 playing again, I think these guys...
Right.
Leave it to the Redditors will figure something.
They got 1 and 2, should mention. They got both of them working.
Gosh. And 3's still up. So
yeah,
you got everything in front of you.
Yeah, now they're modding 3. So
that's
people are starting to work in like custom levels and characters.
I feel like we gave you a new hope in life with this whole hearing about this whole MGO2 remake going on.
Yeah. Your last podcast was so informative, and something I've heard little bits and pieces of people trying to get MGO2 working again, but listening to the in-depth conversation that you guys had, and shouts out to your previous guest, so interesting, and like
shouts out Nourish Psych.
Yeah, shouts out.
So I got to ask the forbidden question here.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Did you play Survive, and what did you think?
So, you guys had an episode about getting your Kojima card revoked.
Get that Metal Gear card taken away.
That would probably, my Metal Gear card would probably get taken away because of the fact that I never shit-talked Survive. I played the fuck out of it. I streamed quite a bit of it.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed Survive because I wanted more than anything to just be back living in the Fox engine. Yep. And that was really, aside from like FIFA, or no, Winning 11-17 or whatever, like there was no other game where I could exist in the Fox engine and I could make my Mother Base crew just the way I had them in Phantom Pain. I dressed them all up in the BDUs and everything. Like, it was, to me, an extension. I know it's not canon and it's not even Kojima. The story was wacky as hell, but I wasn't playing it for that.
Yeah.
I was back into 1-in-1 controls, and then after they updated it to where you could switch the controls back to the Phantom Pain style, I was like 1-to-1 back in the Fox engine. Even though it was, smashing nonsense zombie kind of enemies, I really liked that game.
Yeah, I had a blast with it, man.
Plus you get to fight kaiju.
Yeah. Yeah, it still had stuff left on the table for me because I couldn't get to the point where like I could battle those big kaijus in the single player story.
Mm-hmm.
I think I sniped one of them once I got a big enough weapon, but there's still stuff in that game I have left to finish if I ever want to go back. But that was great playing online. I was so fed up with FOB stuff and, like I said, grinding those skulls missions every week.
Yeah.
I wanted something new. So it wasn't Kojima, but it was a little bit more of that kind of gameplay from Phantom Pain. So I really enjoyed Survive.
Yeah, it's definitely how I looked at it. It's just like an extension of that game, and just like it was just a good time. And I think everybody looked at that game way too seriously and were just like disgusted at the idea of it. And they didn't treat it like objectively. And a lot of people that did play that first hour didn't get like any of the advanced moves that like made that game control really well, like the running attack and all that stuff. Is like, oh, okay, here we go. Now I'm efficient.
Yeah. And planning out kind of it was a totally different gameplay. It was almost tower defense in some ways, you know, like
exactly. Yep.
I would never have experienced anything like that in the Fox engine if that game hadn't come out. So I always looked at it as like, all right, if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. But the hatred that people had for it was just because of what was happening in the media to Kojima, to Sony, to Konami, and all of those factors, I think led up to the internet hating that title and hating Konami for releasing it. While I was sitting there like, hey, you got my money. Pre-order's already in. Video game go brrr.
Yeah, and it's just a goofy spinoff.
Yeah. Like Acid, or like I looked at it as like a Twin Snakes or whatever. Like I also feel that eventually when Konami does go, hey, we're remaking Metal Gear Solid, and if that's with or without Kojima, and it's like a MGS1 remake without Father Hideo, I gotta say, I'll be there day one to just see what it's all about.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate on it until I've played it. But there are people out there that are like, no, that's an unholy creation. You cannot remake Metal Gear Solid just for a cash grab, Konami. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
You think it's inevitable?
It's their IP. They can do what they want with it, but okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And never say never, you know, like in the Japanese business world, I don't know if any bridges were burned, and it seems like time heals all wounds. They may be talking to Hideo about Silent Hill stuff. They may be talking another 5 years down the road about more Metal Gear stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
Man, that would be so funny because he has tried to get away from that series for so long.
They keep pulling me back in.
But what if they were like, you can produce it and put your name on it, but you don't have to direct it, and you find someone that you want to direct it? Like, how cool would that be?
He couldn't help himself.
We'll publish it. Yeah, you know, he'd dip his toe in everywhere he could. But just let Konami publish, you know?
It seems like they're kind of going that direction, too, because they've started publishing indie games.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's what's the new one? It's Skull Attack, I think.
Skull Attack, yeah.
All right. So it's not just pachinko like everyone said.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, I mean, the pachinko jokes are still rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's diverged a little.
Yeah. You can actually straight up buy those machines too. They show up on eBay from time to time. It's like $700, but you can get one.
Yeah. That's cool. I love that even came out just as a Metal Gear fan, because I've got footage in high resolution within the Fox engine of some of my favorite characters from 3 now, you know. My watch background even. That. The high res the boss.
I love that high res Ocelot.
Yeah. Who's y'all's favorite Metal Gear Solid character? I'll go first, and I'll just say that I've got this like this undying love for the boss. I don't know what it is. The virginal white sneaking suit, the holier than thou attitude, but I'm on deck all the way whenever she's on screen.
Daze thinks she's a fucking weirdo, but
tell me.
Yeah, I was putting that 2 and 2 together. I was like, okay, he listened to the card episode and he loves the boss. I was like, fuck, okay, he's treating me nice though, so I'm just gonna let this roll.
Everyone's got their weird opinions.
Yeah.
These are mine.
The opinions that get your card taken away. Apparently.
Sure.
Yeah, I like Solidus. I always thought he was pretty interesting.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because he's such an asshole through most of the game, and then you get to the end and you're like, okay, this guy's kind of making sense now.
Yeah.
That empathetic villain type.
Are you one of those Solidus did nothing wrong?
Oh, hell no. He did a lot wrong.
What about you, Gary? Where do you land on that?
Yeah, I mean, he hijacked the whole country's political system by putting himself as a figurehead president. You know, I can't get behind Solidus.
Yeah, everybody would cancel him today. He wouldn't make it.
Oh yeah, he'd be done.
You can't have Solidus in 2020.
Oh, they would have like Twitter posts of him like with child soldiers giving him that bullet a gunpowder meal.
Just everything he did to Jack. Everything he did to Jack alone would just get him canceled in a heartbeat.
You just have like one of those crying videos just talking about everything that happened.
Yeah. Hashtag cancel George Sears.
Hashtag impeach George Sears.
Or George Sears is over party.
Take away his 2 P90s.
Yeah, I've always been partial to Gray Fox and Kaz. Those are my two, yes. I would say.
Kaz is such a sad character. I love the sadness of his story.
Yeah, it really is a tragedy.
Yeah.
Especially if you look how like optimistic he was like pre-Fiddle incident. It's like it's he definitely does a flip character-wise.
He's scorned. Yeah. Like a lover scorned. He hates Big Boss.
Yeah, and then you kind of see him, in Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, and he's all about like the fondue and stuff. He does eventually kind of go on to live some happier times, but then he dies in his home. But it's all good. I like that arc. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Makes a great burger.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation, like a true crime type conversation about how exactly Kaz died in his home in parallel to the events of Shadow Moses. So it's like, okay, if Ocelot walked in this angle and came in and shot him this way, he would have this much time to get back to Shadow Moses for the events while still being responsible for his death. Which, it intersected my love for true crime and Metal Gear. But that is actually a great segue into my favorite characters, which I want to separate from the macro to the micro. As far as the macro, I would definitely say Revolver Ocelot.
Yeah.
Just him being the catalyst of everything.
Almost
while also
like majority player in every single story.
Right. To
It's
the
crazy.
point where if you kill him in the HD remaster, you get that achievement, like problem solved, series over.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can always do it in the third game, but if you do it in the HDs, you get that achievement.
Dude's the Loki of the series.
Yeah, it's almost astounding how much chaos magic Ocelot possesses. And then in terms of the micro, because I do want to put a spotlight on the less popular characters, but I always loved Fortune in 2. She was essentially a plot device, and that was kind of the point of her story. But the finale of that arc, where she's actually having her Fortune divert those missiles, I just chills down my spine every time.
Her overcoming the turn that her power is just based on technology and going, no, I am Fortune and I do have these powers, and then you get to see that on screen. That was a really cool ending for that character.
Definitely.
Or did they turn it back on?
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Ocelot.
Okay, the little optimism I had, Nitro, you just slam it down.
You're welcome.
Get that shit out of there.
Your two characters like cancel each other out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's going with Null.
Well, that's like Gray Fox. That was my other guy. With Kaz, and just like I don't know, he's definitely a tragic character too. Everything that was like done to him is pretty, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
I think we could get another game somewhere, out of him. I think that'd be a good way to go.
Yeah, I liked your crew's idea on the last podcast about if there was a spinoff instead of this, everyone wants the boss and the Cobra unit fighting in World War II, storming the beaches of Normandy kind of thing. I would like to see, like what you guys were talking about, is develop a side story with some of these side characters.
Yeah.
Something smaller but still within the universe.
Damn, and you could even do the game like that, like have the game anthology style. It's just like this mission you're the boss, this mission you're Gray Fox, and it could just be like broken up into little side things instead of trying to be this big overarching long story.
Like Umbrella Chronicles.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that on an episode a while back. Yeah, but better.
Or I'm with you guys. Give Raiden another shot.
Yeah, I mean
that's what I'm saying.
Rising, was a damn good time.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So I gotta share something.
Yeah.
You guys on one of your, not to change the subject here, but you guys made me laugh so hard one time. and I debated bringing this up, but
oh no, please.
When you guys sweeted Metal Gear Solid,
okay,
that had me on the floor laughing. But what put me over the top was there's a scene in it where you've got an exclamation point popping up behind one of the guys' heads.
Sure, yeah, classic Metal Gear gag.
Yeah, but the music you used was an old MIDI that I wrote like 10 years ago.
Okay, oh my God. It's come to light now. It was you, Nitroid. I know Rocco told me, he's like, dude, after we released the Metal Gear thing, I used some MIDI for one of these files, and the artist actually contacted me. He's like, bro, I made this like 15 years ago. It's cool, thank you. Wow. And so you were okay with it seems?
Yeah, but, dude, I couldn't believe it. I about passed out. I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh no, they found it. It was so embarrassingly bad.
You helped contribute to the video. Thank you so much.
Helped fit the mood of sweeted for sure. It was a sweeted MIDI.
When we do these, we started kind of in the anime forte where we did these Dragon Ball Z videos where we were doing them sweeted in 5 minutes.
Oh, those were amazing. Mm-hmm.
So we've kind of took our in 5 minutes series, and we're still doing Dragon Ball stuff. We're still doing other anime, but we wanted to kind of like get a foothold in the video game world too, and go, hey, we'll make these sweeted, in 5 minute style videos for games as well as anime. So let's do Metal Gear Solid first, and that was the first one we did. And it's so hard finding, music for these because a lot of the licensed stuff gets you pulled off YouTube. It's hard to put that stuff up as a content creator. So MIDI has been our last saving grace, and you'll kind of scour the internet for, what's an unregistered, isn't going to get us clipped by Warner Music here. Oh, here's a remix of The Best Is Yet to Come. Actually, that was you, Finger.
Yeah.
We haven't used that one yet, but it's coming.
You got my permission.
But it's so funny that it comes full circle that was your MIDI, Nitroid. When did you make that?
Oh, God. I was like probably 13 or 14. I don't even remember.
Fantastic.
Early 2000s.
A long time ago.
Yeah, 2001, 2002, something like that.
Yeah. Those in 5 minutes are so fun to make, and being able to do the Metal Gear Solid story that I was so familiar with and so attached to, it was like truly a labor of love. And God, the stuff that we got.
I know you guys sweeted it, but the production value in that was amazing.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah, you do a lot of the prop creation for that, right?
Yeah, my main role here at Mega64, aside from podcasts and game streams and stuff, is I'm their in-house special effects, makeup, and costume prop designer with sets kind of on the side. Sean and I do a lot of sets together too. And for those in 5 minutes videos, Sean and I put most of those costumes together just from stuff we have already in our costume closets, or anything we can kind of scrap together to make it look homemade. There's almost a level where the humor comes from the look of, like that movie Be Kind, Rewind,
Yeah.
It looks silly. It looks like painted cardboard, and they're making these Rush Hour remakes, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, but it's Mos Def and Jack Black. We're going for that, and definitely like in Dragon Ball, you see like Frieza's head as a trash can lid painted purple and white. Like, oh yeah, that is exactly what Frieza's head looks like. So there's this element of the viewer has to recognize a real world item that's slightly modified to make this like cheapened cosplay, basically. Yeah. With Metal Gear, I found it very difficult because all of that equipment exists in real life. So when I was putting together all the costumes for all our boss fights and all our characters, it's like, well, yeah, I've got these BDUs, I've got these pistol belts, and I've got this knife holster, and all of the stuff looked real. And we got a lot of comments on the Metal Gear in 5 minutes that was like, it looks too good. The production value is higher than it was in the Dragon Ball stuff, but that's simply because, we had to make all the Saiyans armor out of like football pads, but Sniper Wolf's outfit and Solid Snake's vest and all that stuff is like, well, I can just get that real vest and that real pistol belt, and here's a FAMAS, and here's a 9mm, So all the guns and everything looked too good. So I think we've learned our lesson and we're walking it back. The next one we're in production on right now, it's another anime. I won't say which, but we're going back to making it look less good, if that makes any sense. There's a fine line to walk, I guess. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed the Metal Gear Suited.
Yeah, man, that was an amazing video.
I can't wait till we get to do 2.
Yeah, hopefully that's in the pipeline.
Oh, you are going to do 2?
Oh, yeah. I think, we're going to keep, we've got a release schedule, and we definitely have plans to just keep going, down the Dragon Ball sagas, and then throw a video game in there every other one. And we got to hit up, probably some of our other favorite video game series, but then we need to go back to Solid. And we need to do Solid 2, and I can't wait to get to Metal Gear Solid 3.
Hell yeah. That'll be a lot of good makeup time for you.
Eventual. Mega64 is the cockroach to the internet that has existed before YouTube, and then hopefully around 2075 we'll be releasing Metal Gear Solid 3 Suited in 5 minutes. We'll all be hooked up to breathing machines.
That's great. Someone will have to unplug you like Big Boss and Zero at the end of 4.
Yeah.
Like, he did good.
We'll really kill Rocco as the end in that boss fight. It's going to be his grand achievement.
You think you'll be calling it Mega 128 by then?
Yeah. Hopefully. We need some younger members to step in so that we can just start making them be on camera.
Well, hopefully by then, maybe they'll have like cloning technology, and then you can just clone yourselves,
Liquid
and then
Garrett.
it'll be like really Metal Gear. Yeah, Liquid Garrett.
Oh, that'd be great. Sew my arm onto him. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, he tries to kill you, and you're like, hey, stop it.
What did I do, man?
You're my clone.
Yeah, man, we're coming up here on an hour. If you want to plug where people can find you, on your Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and where people can find all the videos.
What a fun time, man. Time flew by.
Yeah, man, that was definitely a good time.
I'm amazed.
Time flies when you're talking about Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's true. When it's a labor of love, it's no labor at all. And I can be found at Garrett Hunter. That's GarrettHunter on Twitter. And it's Garrett Hunter 64 on Instagram. But all you really need to do is check out the Poorly Played stream. I stream that every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific on the Mega64 Twitch. And that is twitch.tv/Mega64 podcast. We're always doing stuff. Mega64 TV is always live on our Twitch channel with our old videos. And then all the live content is programmed in. We got podcasts on Wednesday nights at 6. My show, again, Poorly Played stream, Wednesdays at 7. All kinds of stuff over at twitch.tv/Mega64 podcast.
Yeah. Y'all got that shop, too, where you guys sell a bunch of merch all the time.
Oh, baby. The shop, the website. You can pretty much just Google Mega64 to get to our YouTube, our webpage, our shop. All the appropriate social medias as well. But
yeah,
those are my boys. That's my crew, and I'll be hanging with them for quite some time.
Shouts out to the boys. Shouts out to Mega64, and shouts out to Garrett. Thanks again for coming on the Kojima Frequency again, man. We really appreciate it. It was definitely a blast.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I want to say a special thanks to Fingers for always letting me throw your tracks into my streams. The music that you guys that you've been producing has been fantastic for streaming. And,
no problem, buddy.
I always appreciate the ability to play some music on the stream. So thank you.
Yeah, anything to dodge that content ID, throw something at them.
Gotta just slow it down, speed it up, throw some sound effects in.
Yeah. I was about to say, can we get some yes? There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, cool. Thanks again, buddy.
Hey, thank you.
All right, later.